Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make this video while my thoughts were coherent and comprehensive and like actually made sense and I wasn't like crying the whole video. So I just want to talk about letting Penny go and all the things that came with that and everything. Anyway, this was not like a quick rash decision that one day I woke up and was like, I don't want to adopt Penny anymore. So it's been something that's been going on for a couple months now, where I just slowly was starting to feel like I wanted a younger child. That when I had the failed private adoption, I was able to grieve and give up on having a newborn. I knew I was never going to have a newborn or a young infant. With international, I was like, okay, I might not have that, but I will have a toddler / older infant, and adding Down syndrome into that mix, they will be smaller, they'll be developmentally younger than their actual age, and like I could do a match up to 2, they would be home by the time they're 3, and I was okay with that. Like I came to a good point where I was okay with that. And then Penny came along, and I was very naive in saying yes to Penny, and I should have known better. And I think it was just because she was there. She was a face that I could see. I had this person on this other end that, I'm not going to say she pressured me, because she did not pressure me. But there was this person advocating and fighting for her, and I didn't want to let her down. I didn't want to let Penny down, because now I had a face to this kid, and I didn't want to say no to her. And then I was like, well, I need to trust the universe, and like sometimes you need to give up the life you plan to have the one you're meant to have, and all those like quotes. Can't connect the dots looking forward, and like I was seeing all these signs that it was like, hey, this Penny's meant to be mine, and everything's happening the way it's supposed to be, and everything was good. Everything was good because I was watching families bring their kids home really quickly. Everything was going smoothly. I knew I wasn't going to be ready with my paperwork right away, so it was like, okay, well, Penny's paperwork can get started. She has to get transferred to another orphanage, so it's going to take time to transfer her. Then by the time her paperwork's done, which paperwork takes a long time because they have to do medicals and they have to put ads in the paper. Like, it's a big process. And I'm like, okay, it's like May, June. By the time all her stuff is done, I will be ready, and everything will just be fine. And I'm like, then she'll be home either before her 4th birthday or close to her 4th birthday, and developmentally she's gonna be more like a 2-3-year-old anyway, so I can do this, I can do this. And then lately, like the last couple months, doubt has slowly been creeping in, and started off just like as like this little spark of like, are you sure you don't want a younger child? Are you sure you don't want a younger child? And then like looking at the clothes, like I organized her clothes a couple weeks ago, and it was like, I want a younger child. And like that little bit kept coming in. And as that's happening, India's process is getting longer and longer, where things are taking more and more time to achieve. And I thought things were going to speed up. I really did. I thought, oh, this is only a temporary delay. Things are going to start picking up. And I haven't seen that yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. Instead, do you need to go bathroom? I closed the door so you didn't hear the washer, but I think Taylor, you going to go to the bathroom? Oh no, you're just going to come sit with me. So anyway, instead of seeing them start to catch up, what I'm seeing is waits are getting longer for things. And instead of a 4 to 6 month wait from match to home, it's like more like 10 months right now, going towards a year. And I'm still not matched with Penny. I am not matched with anyone at the point of this filming. Like I said, I don't know when this is going up. But then with all these delays on top of that, I got word that Penny hasn't even been transferred yet, and the orphanage she's currently in is causing problems. I'm not going to go into why I think they're doing that or anything like that, but the fact that she hasn't even been transferred yet, I thought by now her file would have been started to be created. I thought, okay, they're going to transfer her file is going to start. By the time I'm ready, her file will be ready, or shortly after I'm ready, her file will be ready. But at this point in time, I'm waiting for approval, and there's nothing happening on her end. And even if they started her file right away, even if they got her transferred tomorrow and started her file right away, I'm still stuck waiting for her approval, or her file. And I don't think that's going to happen before she's 4. To be completely honest, I don't think that's going to happen before she's 4. So I went from taking home a child that's turning 4 / just after 4 to a child that I'm not even being matched with until after she's 4, and then she's not coming home until after she's 5. And it was really hard to take that in and to let her down, even though she doesn't know I even exist. But I just kept thinking of all the people I was letting down. And then one day I had a panic attack in the shower, which I've only ever had panic attacks in the shower, or like just after showering. I think I had one in the kitchen once. But like I haven't had panic attacks in years, like 2-3 years. But in the shower I was thinking like, just like, what if I just said no? What if I just said no? What if I just stepped away? And that's what got me. Like, I was so stressed out. And then, like, anyway. So, like, the next day I said to Tina, I said, there are just times when I think, like, it would be easier to just let Penny go and not fight. And stop the fighting. The fighting for her. And instead of doing what I feel like I need to do, actually going with what I want to do. And she's like, well, what does your heart tell you? And I'm like, well, my heart tells me that if I leave her, she's going to die. And I don't think I realized it as much then as I do now. But, like, I was putting a huge burden on myself and this huge weight of responsibility for a child that I didn't need to do that. There are so many kids, like, that are dying every day in orphanages. And it's like, I can't be responsible for all of them. And I can't adopt them all. I can't save them all. There's like 20 million orphans in India. I can't adopt 20 million kids. So, anyway, so, after that I was like, whatever. And, I was still like, no, I'm going to adopt Penny because I need to. And then one day there was a list of kids that are currently available in India, and it was a very small list. It's not the full list, and it just had gender, month, and year of birth. There was nothing like informational beyond that. And I sent it to Tina, and I said, look, there's 2 girls on here. One's born November 2017, and the other one's December 2017. They're not even 1 yet. And I could have them home, like, before they're 2. This was before I realized how slow everything was going. Tina was like, well, if you are having this much doubt and these feelings, maybe this is a sign that you're not meant to move forward with Penny. And that made me upset. And I think, looking back, it made me upset because I realized she was telling me the truth. But I was like, no, like, I can't, I got dog hair everywhere, I can't give Penny up. I have to adopt her. I have to. I'll be letting so many people down, like, maybe a little bit of a people pleaser, but it's like, no, like, the universe must be telling me to adopt Penny because XYZ, and, like, you know, sometimes you have to give up the life you plan to live the life you're meant to lead, and all those wonderful quotes. And then shortly after that, like 2 days after that, is when I filmed the video about me struggling. And I was really scared to make that video, but I had been crying for like hours and hours and hours. I barely slept that night before I filmed that. And it just came to the point where here I've been struggling with something for so long, and other than Tina's probably like the only person I really talk to a lot about my doubts. before I was just mentioning to people like, oh, I feel like if I don't adopt a younger child, I'm going to regret it, and I'm going to end up adopting a second child because I wanted to experience that younger child. But anyway, so before that, Tina was like the person I dumped everything on. Sorry, Tina. I know she doesn't watch my vlogs, but anyway. So, where was I going? So anyway, so I realized that I needed to share it with you guys so that it wasn't just me coming on one day and doing this video where I'm like, I'm letting Penny go, and here's the reasons why, and you guys being like, wow, that was sudden. And I needed your input. I didn't want to let you guys down. And I know that seems ridiculous because you are like the magical people through the camera. But like, you guys are my family. Like, you guys are part of my journey, and you are part of Emeris's life, and yes, Taylor's life too, yes. And just like, I didn't want to keep you guys in the dark over such a huge issue I was struggling with, and something that would affect my life. And like I said, I didn't want to come on here one day and make this video and be like, hey, guess what, I'm not adopting Penny, and then you guys being like, hey, what happened? And I just really needed to know how you guys felt about it. And I was really nervous about posting it, and I thought about turning comments off, and I posted it, and I could not believe how supportive you guys were. And as soon as I saw those comments coming in that were positive and like supportive, where it's like, here's my thinking of what I think you should do, but it's up to you either way. Like, there was no like, you're a bitch for even thinking this, you need to stick with Penny, or you're a psycho, and like, there was no rude comments. There was no one being rude or cruel just for the sake of cruelty. It was like very thought out comments, and like I wrote the key, like really key things that grabbed me. I wrote down in my notebook that's sitting beside my bed. I should have grabbed it, but there was just some really powerful things in there that every time I've had doubts since then, I go back and I read them. And there was stuff like about me needing to be selfish, which it's really hard for me to do that, especially like feeling with letting Penny down, even though Penny doesn't know I exist, and like needing to do what I need to do for me. There's also someone that said, I didn't write down names, so I'm sorry I can't accredit people with quotes, but someone that said something about like, I found Penny when I needed to find her to help me keep my head above water during the time that I needed her, and now I need to let her go and move on. And it was just like, yes, Penny was there to help me keep my head above water. I had a photo I could look at during the hard times. I paid down my payments a lot faster, anticipating Penny and anticipating things to move a lot faster than they are. And that kicked my butt into gear. And now, like, even though I'm not moving ahead with Penny, I'm so used to paying these huge chunks of payments that I'm still doing that, because honestly, things could pick up. And even if they didn't, I would love to have my stuff paid off sooner. Like, right now, I'm hoping to have everything paid off the end of April or sooner, depending on Patreon people and commission from things and stuff like that. But anyway, so, lost my train of thought. So anyway, so reading through all your comments, and just even the ones that were just like, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you. Like, that just knowing that. So after all those comments, I also was talking to family members and friends, like close friends and stuff, and it just was really nice to hear the support. There was like, my mom was like, well, what about XYZ, which I'll talk about in a second, but and stuff like that. But in the end, it was just so much support. And then I messaged the person I was terrified of messaging, Penny's advocate. I was so afraid of disappointing her. I was so afraid. And so I just explained to her the situation, and with the delays that are happening with Penny's file, plus the delays that are happening in India in general, I need to do what's best for me and my family, and I need to let Penny go in order to do that. And she was super supportive. She's like, I totally understand. And she's just been super amazing. So, so a couple questions that I had were what does that mean in terms of developmentally? So, like, because, for instance, with Penny, I've seen videos of her, I've seen pictures of her, and I have a general idea of her health and her ability. And going into adopting a younger child, I have no clue what's that going to be like. Even though Penny is older, in terms of challenges with OT, PT, SLP, all those fun acronyms, with Penny, yes, she might struggle early on, but I don't know what I'm getting into with a younger child. And I am going to trust the universe in this, and that I'm going to get the kid I meant to get. And Penny, unfortunately, is not it. I feel like starting them off younger with earlier intervention, we have more potential to move further. With Penny, she'd be coming home and starting kindergarten right away. She wouldn't even have pre-K, she wouldn't have preschool, she would be starting kindergarten. And I've seen kids that have done that because the school I work at is a high immigrant population. So we've had kids brand new to Canada starting kindergarten with developmental delays. And it is hard compared to the kids that I have that did pre-K before coming in. So here in Alberta, we have a pre-kindergarten, and it's meant for 3 and 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds that have developmental delays, which would be MRIS, and for 4-year-olds that have developmental delays, as well as English language learners. And to see the difference between children that have done pre-K and kids that have not is huge, huge. Because in pre-K, it's a part-time program. They're working on social skills. They're working on just those, like, a lot of occupational therapy, a lot of physical therapy, a lot of speech and language, a lot of just, like, fine motor skills and school skills. And to take Penny, who has never stepped in a school, into a classroom full-time where she's expected to sit like a student and be like a student, which is not my classroom, by the way. I cannot have her in my classroom, so I cannot control what happens in her classroom. And I'm also not 100% sure I even want her to go to school. Like, I might want to homeschool. And I just feel like by adopting a younger child that will have, like, if she's home around the age of 2, and especially, okay, let's go hypothetically with the girl that is born in December 2017. So this is what would end up happening. She would be home probably before December 2019. So she would be home before her 2nd birthday or close to it. I would be off on maternity leave from January to September 2019, right? 2020, sorry. It seems so far away. So while she is 2, I would be off. From September 2020, so when she's 2 years old, until she's 3, so 2.5 to 3.5, she would be in a daycare, like a home daycare. When she turns 3, she would be in preschool. So she's already had 1 full year of daycare, preschool, like, activity. Then she would have 2 years of pre-K as a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old. Then she would have 1 full year of kindergarten, being full-time, most likely, because of Down syndrome. And I would have the option, because of when her birthday is, I would have the option of either adding on a year of pre-K before she goes to kindergarten, or adding on a 2nd year of kindergarten. So she would have 5 years of being in Canada, with 5.5 years, because there would be the half of a year, over half a year, 9 months of me being off on maternity leave. So yeah, so she would be home a lot longer and in school a lot longer before she hit grade 1. Whereas if I adopted Penny, Penny would be in school. She would have 1 year of kindergarten and then be in grade 1. And she won't, once she hits grade 1, her OT, PT, and SLP drop. Not completely, she would still get it. But from pre-K, while she's in daycare, this video is so long, but while she's in daycare, I would be doing private services outside the school, because she obviously would be at school. But we have, like, Alberta Health Services offers PT, SLP, OT. So she would be getting all those during the year she's in daycare, and while I'm on maternity leave too, depending on how our bonding and stuff is going. And then in pre-K, for the 2 years in pre-K, and then potentially 2 years in kindergarten, depending on how ready she is for grade 1, she would also have all those intensive supports in the school system. And so by the time she hits the age that Penny would hit in grade 1, even if she had more developmental delays due to just who she is, she would still have more opportunities. And it's just having her come home and having me be able to adjust to her a lot longer before having to make those academic decisions is huge. Because I will have a full year of her being, a year and a half of her being home, plus having her be, having her in childcare for a year in a non-academic setting. And possibly during that time, my parents moving here. So, like, there's just more time before I have to make those big decisions. And that seems stupid to be like, oh, well, like, you're adopting a younger child because it's easier. But that's really what it is. It might not be easier. It really might not be. The thing is, this is something my mom asked me. She asked me, like, my mom doesn't know the politically correct terms. But anyway, I'm not going to go into those. But my mom was talking about Penny. And we kind of have an idea of Penny right now, whereas there's this random abstract child out there. And my mom asked about, like, health and, like, ability and stuff like that. And I said to her, my home study is only approved for a child with Down syndrome with mild to moderate needs, Down syndrome needs. So obviously that's different than a normal, typical adoption where you're asking for a typical child that's healthy, because mild moderate in that case is different than Down syndrome. Like, I'm looking at possibly a heart condition, thyroid issues, obviously low muscle tone, all that Down syndrome stuff. But I'm not approved for blindness. I'm not approved for severe like issues that come with some children with Down syndrome. I'm not approved for a severe heart condition. I'm approved for Down syndrome and the typical things that come along with it. So I'm not going to end up, possibly, I shouldn't be ending up being matched with a child that is wheelchair bound, for instance. I could be, but that's part of just rolling with it at this point, where I am trusting that making this decision is for the best for me. And if it comes to it that I end up with a child that has more needs than I actually anticipated, then so be it. But I can feel more at peace with making that decision than making the decision to move ahead with Penny just because she is currently showing fewer needs than possible with another, possible than the unknown. This is what we know, but we still don't know. She could turn out to also have a dual diagnosis with autism. Like, there's no knowing with adoption. And I feel more confident in making the decision to adopt a younger child than moving ahead with Penny, because even if Penny blows my mind developmentally, she's still older than I want, and I still will always have that regret of not having adopted a younger child. What else was there? Oh, timeline. So people were like, well, what does that mean for a timeline for other children, though? Because if there's all these delays and stuff like that, couldn't Penny be ready at the same time? And so technically Penny's file could be ready when I am ready. So I'm looking to be ready, hopefully end of November to end of December, sometime in December-ish. Is current timelines. That could change tomorrow. Who knows? Things could get faster, things could get slower. I'm just going by my rough estimate. Hypothetically speaking, let's say I am ready December 1st. So I'm ready December 1st and Penny's ready December 1st. I'm going to go like that. I get matched. By the time it actually gets to me, it'll probably be like, we'll say mid-December. Then we have the wonderful holidays. But say I'm officially matched with Penny January 1st. Officially matched. So I have her file, I've accepted her file, and all that fun stuff. if it takes a year from official match to home, she is coming home January 1st. She will be almost 5. She'll be 4 and 11 months. Give or take a few days. Whereas, let's reverse and go with, so she's 5. We'll say 5 because she's pretty much 5. Same situation with the child that was born December 2017. Or even, let's go November 2017 because she's the older out of the two on the list, even though I know there's a lot more on the list because I've seen more on the list. But those are the 2 youngest that I've seen on the list currently. I don't have the full list. So anyway, we'll go with November 2017. So when I am matched with her, even if she was born November 1st, I don't know her birth date. So we'll say November 1st. So she is 14 months old on January 1st. A year from then, she would be 26 months old. So 2 years and 2 months old versus 1 month away from being 5. So even if Penny is ready at the exact same time as I'm ready, and I could grab her file and everything goes completely smoothly, she is still going to be over double the age of another child. She would be 5 versus 2. So, this is not speeding up the process other than the unknown of Penny's file. I don't think Penny's file will be ready before February 2019. That's just my thinking. By the time she gets transferred, by the time they start her file, by the time they actually do her file, there's a lot of paperwork involved. And that is why I thought they were going to start it when I said yes. And that was my anticipation. They would start it when I said yes. We would be ready at the exact same time, which I also thought I was going to be ready mid-October because at the time, that's how things were moving. Whereas now, like I said, I'm looking at sometime in December. So in terms of her file even being ready on time, it's not looking like that's going to happen. And I think the only thing that's going to actually make it happen is if I was approved and I was going straight to CARA, which is India's adoption agency, the adoption authority, and constantly bugging them to get on the orphanage to transfer her. I think that's what it's going to end up taking. And so if I start bugging them in December to get her transferred, because she's not even transferred yet, to get her transferred, I'm looking at getting matched with her like summer 2019. That's matched. So home summer 2020. Like, I'm sorry, if you have been with me for, well, one, if you've been with me for the last 28 minutes, but if you've been with me on this journey, you know how every single thing has been a fight, and I'm done. I am done fighting. I am done with everything. I just want this to go smoothly. I just want that when I'm ready just to grab a file and move on with my life. Even with the delays with India, even if it takes me 2 years to get the other girl home, so what? She's 3 when she comes home. That's still not 5. That's still not 5. So, yeah. I mean, it would totally suck. I am hoping they will go back to their regular 4 to 6 month, and then she would be home, like, when she's 1.5. Or possibly younger, depending on if I get a younger match. The thing is, with children with Down syndrome, they're often abandoned at birth. So if they're abandoned at birth and the orphanage that they're placed in does paperwork like they legally are supposed to, they could be on the list a lot sooner, like 6 months old. I've seen people matched with 6-month-old. I've seen them match with 8-month-old. So if she's matched and then she's 6 months old, and then we have a really fast process where she's home 4 months later, she's home at 10 months old. That's in like a crazy magical world where things actually go smoothly. But in my not so magical world where it takes a long time, I would like her home between 2 and 3, or under 3. And I'm not going to get that with Penny. Penny's already 3.5, almost going closer to 4 now. So anyway, this is a long video. I'm sorry if you've watched this. Good for you. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about stuff while I'm clear on my thoughts and stuff like that. But I feel like a weight has been lifted. Like, I've been so stressed lately and so unhappy lately. I can't tell you how many times I've cried. And since really like thinking it through, and the last couple days has just been really good with reading those the stuff that you guys have been saying, and I think that's just going to continue. Anytime I have doubt, I'm just going to read one of those, and just really like thinking about doing what's best for me. Comes down to it, what's best for me, what do I want, because I'm not doing this again, so I might as well get it over with and do it right the first time, pretty much. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to follow me along on this journey. If you want like updates when I first get them, especially matched, they will be in Patreon, which will probably pop up there. My patrons are going to get the first pictures, the first news, the first everything, because that's the point of Patreon. It has really, honestly, have been helping me pay down fees really great. So yeah, go check it out. $1 and you get access to new information sooner, which I'm guessing the people on Patreon have already know all this stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys later. Bye, guys.